What's up?
Hi, how's things?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, all good.
Let me just plug in my microphone. One sec. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, feeling good, looking ready, looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. How long have you known about this?
Well, I've been in camp for the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I've known that I've had a date. I've known that I would have been fighting on the 31st, for the last, say, 3, 4 weeks. We only got the opponent Jez Smith about 2 weeks ago, if even. So,
Have you just been waiting like the last 2 weeks for this to get announced?
yeah, like, do you know what? It's been a long 8 weeks in camp, and I had an original opponent from Scotland, and it was meant to be for the Celtic title. He pulled
Hmm.
out. Then I had like two big names pull out. I had a kid at 15-0 say no. So we had a lot of people turn the fight down, and just like frustration was kicking in. And then 2 weeks ago, we got a confirmed opponent. And whenever they said Jez Smith, I knew like he's game. He's not going to pull out.
Hmm.
So I could set my sights on getting ready for him then.
I know, like this frustration that you speak of, it's something that's so common at the moment. It's a lot of fighters have the same issue with those that are quote unquote prospects. They find it really hard to get matched, and they're so eager to get out and to fight and to prove themselves that it just kind of adds to like you say frustration. So is that something that you're kind of already preparing for? You know that fights falling through is just part of the game, and you just have to adapt to it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, listen, one thing you'll learn very quickly in professional boxing is it doesn't always go your way, and like fates fall through all the time. Like, I had I had an opponent pull out for the Celtic title, and it kind of really annoyed me because it was kind of last minute,
Yeah.
um, and then we couldn't get an opponent. No, literally nobody wanted to fight, and I was very frustrated, but as soon as I got an opponent, I was happy. But I know that it's a part of the game, and things like that happen. Do you know what I mean? People get
Hmm.
injured, people pull out, and that's just part of boxing.
Does the fact that the kind of the Frank Warren PR and the kind of media team behind Queensbury Promotions, that they tout you as a prospect, does that make you nervous? Does that put pressure on your shoulders?
No, do you know what? I like. Of course, I'm a prospect. I had a good amateur background. I've did well in the pro so far. I'm 6-0, but I don't focus on any of that. I don't focus on expectations or people hyping me up. I've always said no hype required when it comes to me. You don't need to hype me up. I
Mm.
show my levels in the ring, um, and I like it that way. I don't want nobody to hype me up because I show how good I am on the night. But I don't focus on any of that. I just focus on being myself, performing well, and moving on to the next fight. Because I think once you start kind of letting that hype or expectations get you, it can either change you as a boxer and maybe get to your head, or it can affect you in terms of you got a lot on your shoulders and you may underperform, and then people start criticizing you and stuff like that. So I don't focus on it. Listen, everyone has their own opinion and they can brand me whatever they want. So I let them do that, but I don't focus on it.
Do you notice other fighters when they like? Can you see, as someone who's a professional fighter, you're in the sport, you know it inside out. It's your entire life. Are you able to spot people who will say get kind of sucked into that machine? I suppose.
A lot of fighters. I've seen it after a couple fighters get a good win, that they should probably win. They get good win and they think they're the dog's balls because social media or people in the boxing world are hyping them up. But listen, you can never like. One thing I'll say is never lose track. Do you know what I mean? There's always someone bigger and better than you, and until you prove yourself at the top level, then there's so much work to be done. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's what kind of keeps me grounded. Like I know Jez Smith is a good opponent. He's 11-1, and um, it's a good fight for me. It's a step up on paper, and regardless of the result and how I win, I won't let it get to me. I will move on, and I'll look at the fight and take the negatives from it, and progress on in the gym on what I done wrong in the fight. Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I know a lot of fighters kind of get good win and just think that they can continue to do that, but something with me, it's all about learning and always improving.
Do you think that a lot of that sort of attitude that we're speaking about, social media has a lot to for not to blame, I suppose, but it's a big factor in it. In that there's sort of like a wave of when you win, everyone's talking about you, everyone's tweeting about you. There's like the highlight clips and, you know, your kind of flavor of the month. And then as soon as you lose, there's like a drop off. And it's almost like when somebody loses and they've experienced it for the first time, it's like as if they battle with their ego, you know, where it's like, oh, I'm this like superstar fighter and I've had this loss. So it's kind of like this sort of imbalance, I suppose, of kind of who they are and what they can do. And then also the negative side of the loss sort of affects them. So the mental game is so important. So like what you're saying in terms of like not really focusing on it and just kind of keeping your head down and just getting the win and moving on to the next. Is that an important element for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like a lot of people get sucked into believing what people brand them on social media. Like it's easy
Mm-hmm.
for people to write, "Oh, you're the next big thing," or "Brilliant fight, this kid's one to watch in the future." But like you can have a bad day in the gym, you can have a bad day, like a bad night at the office, and as soon as you do, they'll brand you that, "Oh, he's never gonna make it," or do you know what I mean? They'll jump off the bandwagon and jump on someone else's. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
never focus. When I appreciate all the support I get, like I get unbelievable support from people around the world, especially in Belfast, from my home city. And I love that. Like that makes me want to push on and achieve a lot more. But I never really bite into what they're saying. Like if you go on my Facebook today, people are just going, "Oh, you like this kid's gonna be world champion." Like tagging people and, "Oh, this fight's gonna be easy," another just stepping stone. And although it may be, I don't bite into that. I don't underestimate
Mm.
any opponent. I've got to get in there on Friday night and do a job, and not let what I read on social media get the better of me and make me think that I'm somebody that I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Or let me get too confident. Do you know what I mean? And then I could get complacent on the night. Do you know what I mean? So I don't feel like it is good to have support and hear them comments and see for yourself that your hard work is paying off and it's making people believe in you. But
Mm.
I don't let it affect me and change me as a person to something that I'm not. That I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Did you find it hard to adjust to media attention when you started, especially when you turned pro? Because, you know, media, PR, social media, it's all a huge part of turning pro and it's part of sort of like the business of boxing.
But
So how do you fare with like, you know, doing stuff like this, doing interviews and, you know, being in the paper and stuff like that?
do you know what? It thankfully, and this isn't to sound big headed, but I've been doing interviews since I was like 15 years old. Since I
Mm.
went to Worlds and Europeans and stuff like that. Obviously, nothing to this extent. But one of my coaches works for UTV, so I would always get exposure that way. And I would like I've been in newspapers and doing articles my whole boxing career near enough. But I've whenever I got stabbed, I had to do so
Yeah.
much media work, so that kind of benefited me in a way. To get used to doing it now as a professional boxer. So it's not like something I'm new to. I've been doing it for the last 3 years constantly. Because obviously the stabbing went so viral and hit the
Mm.
media so big. So thankfully that I've learned from it that way. Obviously it was a negative situation, but it's been a positive on my career.
Absolutely. You definitely took the positive from it and made it kind of empowered you almost. You know what I mean? Like you took the power out of the actual act of being stabbed and what you had gone through. But you know, you mean you're still young and you were even younger at the time when that happened to you. But was there apprehension to go public about being stabbed and knowing that it was going to go viral, that there was going to be a lot of attention, especially because you were such a successful amateur boxer?
Um, do you know what? If I had my own way, I wouldn't have wanted to go viral.
Mm.
At the time, I felt like being violated by somebody and getting stabbed is something hard to deal with. But for the whole public and the media to see
Mm.
that, and like that was a tough time in my life, and like not trying to overcome that and getting phone calls every single day to do media work and like, "Oh, will you give us a story?" Blah blah blah. Like to have to try and overcome that, but speak about it every single day was something very mentally tough for me. But I knew that if I got my story out there, then it could maybe help somebody else.
Yeah.
And it was out of my control that it hit the media so well. Obviously, I was a rising star in the amateurs, and it was kind of a big story back then. And it is what it is. It's something that I didn't shy away from. I could have easily shied
Mm.
away from it and said no, but I took the positives from it and what could have come out of it and put my story out there that could help other people. So I'm glad that I did, but it was something that if I had my own way, I probably wouldn't have wanted to go as big as it did.
That's very interesting. Do you know, not many of us have experienced what you went through, and especially being that close to death and to be able to come out the other end of it. In terms of life perspective, what changed for you when that happened?
Do you know what? As soon as it happened, it was like I never imagined something like that could happen to me. Like you always hear of people getting stabbed around the world, or like people dying from getting shot. Something like you would never picture happen to yourself. And as soon as it happened to me, I was like, you genuinely don't know what can happen in life. Like I could walk out the door and get hit by a bus. Like
Yeah.
touch wood that that doesn't happen. But it makes you realize that life is way too short. And what I took from it is that if I want to achieve anything in life, that um, I have to give it my all, and maybe not take time off uh, or like slack at any stage in my career. So it kind of made me more driven to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and made me work harder as a person, as a boxer, and it changed me mentally. Like I'm a lot more positive than I was. It's changed me um, like mentally. I'm a lot more mentally stronger than I was. So although it was a negative situation in my life and I was very close to losing my life, I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and it's made me a better person. So
Yes. Love hearing that.
yeah.
And I know every time I interview you, we always end up talking about it. And I'm sure it annoys you that I always bring it up, but I
You know
love
what? You
talking
know what?
about it.
I was
It's
thinking
so
like
important, Kevin. That's why you're such a, it's such a positive story. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Obviously not what happened, but the outcome, how you've used it to propel yourself. You haven't let that deter you from your goals and your dreams. It's very inspirational.
Do you know what? I've been like the last while I've been thinking I'm gonna put something out on social media and say that
Hmm.
from now on I don't want to do no more interviews about my personal life in terms of
Hmm.
like my family and my ex girlfriend and stuff like that, or getting stabbed, because I feel like that's always what it is. And then I was like, I'm happy to talk about my career and mental health issues because that's something I'm very passionate about and want to get my story out there on. But I don't want to do anything on me getting stabbed. I did an interview today with BT Sports and Steve Bunce, and the first thing they said was about me getting stabbed. So I just thought to myself, do you know what it is? It's a part of me. It's a part of who Caoimhin Agyarko is.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to shy away from it. I'll openly speak about it every single time somebody asks me about it, because it could help somebody. And listening to my story and how I've overcome it and went on to achieve things in life could maybe give somebody else that drive. So if I can put my story out there to help somebody else, then I'm willingly going to do that.
absolutely. You're building karma. That's what you're doing.
That's it. That's it.
Well, listen, let's talk about the fight again before I let you go, because obviously that's why we have you on.
Yep.
Everyone's interested about the preparation. You know, obviously, no crowd, like not probably the ideal situation to be fighting in terms of we were just after coming out of lockdown. So, talk to me about your preparation in the lead up to this fight. What was the kind of schedule like, and where were you? Were you in Belfast? Are you in the UK now?
Yeah, I'm in London.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
yeah, so obviously I was back home in Belfast. And I got a phone call just say, listen, we're gonna have a couple of dates for July, August time. Uh, get yourself back over to camp. You'll be able to fly and stuff. So excuse me. As soon as I got the word that I could go back to camp, flew straight over, and we were just kind of waiting on a confirmed date. I was just taking over, training hard. I was told that I was given 8 weeks, so um, preparation started there. I was told I'll be in a 10 round fight. It was meant to be for a title, so we were just planning on that. Obviously, that didn't happen. The title fight isn't going ahead, but it's still a 10 round fight, and I just prepared myself as best as I could for it.
What about weight? Because this fight is at middleweight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, obviously I boxed a middleweight. My last, I think, 3 professional fights I've made the middleweight limit, so I know that I can make it. It's not a question. Like we've been questioning about maybe moving down to light middle, but for now we're going to stay at middleweight. Like making weight has been fine. Obviously I come back to camp a few pounds heavy because of the coronavirus, and I wasn't able to train properly. But um, yeah, I've made weight perfect. Like I've that nutritionist board, and I've meal prep company and stuff like that. So everything's went to plan. I've literally had no faults in this camp. I've been sparring well. I've been performing probably the best I've ever performed in my career in terms of in the gym and sparring and stuff. So I'm feeling good, and I'm looking forward to Friday night.
Do you feel in some way that being in London and kind of being away from home, that it gives you a little bit more of a focus? You feel like you're sort of on a mission, you're there to do a job essentially.
Yeah, 100%. It's the reason that I decided to come over here. I knew that I'm not a kid that would get distracted easily, but there is distractions back home, like when your friends are going out
Yeah.
and stuff like that, or like you could be persuaded to miss a training session or something. So I knew that whenever I turned professional that I wanted to give it my all and never cut any corners. So I made the decision to come over here, and I feel like it is my job. If I can sacrifice 8 weeks, 10 weeks at a time to be successful in life, then why not? Why not give it my all?
And in terms, like, obviously 6-0 are still early days in terms of your career and what I imagine you want to achieve. But what are the goals? Like, what when you visualize where you want to be in, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, where is it?
Um, the overall goal is obviously to be a world champion like that. That's why I got into professional boxing. I'm not in it to pick up Celtic titles, to pick up British titles, Commonwealth titles, European titles. It's to be world champion. Period. Like I've openly said, if I didn't have to fight for them titles and I could just progress to get a world title, I would. But if I've got to pick them titles up on the way, then I will. It's not in my achievement list to win a British title or anything like that. Winning a British title is an unbelievable achievement. Winning a European is unbelievable achievement, but it's not what I set out to achieve. Do you know what I mean? I want to be a world champion. I know that if I have to pick them titles up in the way, then I will. But long term, it's to be a world champion. I want to be the first Black Irish to win a world title. Now I know that I know that Tommy McCarthy might be in line for that. Just get cut off there. I know that
Yeah,
Tommy
okay.
McCarthy might be in line for that first. And fair play to him. If he wins a world title, I'll be rooting for him, and I'll be happy. I'll just make history by being another Black Irish to win a world title. But as of now, there hasn't been one, and I want to be the first to achieve that.
Amazing. I'd love, well, I have to be unbiased. I'd love
Yeah.
either of you to win the world title and to
Listen,
get that.
obviously Tommy's a bit older than me, and
He
he's
is.
he's in like he's kind of in contention for European, maybe just on the verge of world level. And if he achieves that, like fair play to him. Like I'll be rooting for him. I love supporting my own people. I love seeing people in Ireland do well, even if I don't know them. So if he achieves that, fair play. But as of now, hasn't been achieved yet. So that's still my goal. That's still what drives me to become a world champion. So
As soon as this interview is over, I'm going to ring Tommy McCarthy. I'm going to be like, Keevan has just called you out live on Fight Connect TV.
don't be doing that. Don't be doing that.
But yeah, so what's the plan now for this week in terms of like, like explain to us what it's like being, because all these shows, I mean, obviously Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, it's the closed shows, it's the, fight camp, it's obviously we had Frank's shows that kicked us off last week.
Yeah.
So what is the sort of plan for fight week for you? Like, you're obviously in London now, so what's the plan for until you get
Yeah.
to fight
So
night?
we're kind of stuck up in a hotel. Everyone's in a hotel. I I've near enough on weight already. Got one more session to do tomorrow. Get the weight off, and then we weigh in Thursday. Just rehydrate, fuel up, and then I'll just chill out. Take a walk if I'm allowed to. I don't think we're allowed out of the hotel, but
Oh,
it's a bit
sheesh.
it's a bit of a nightmare. But I'll just chill out, relax. I'll bring I have my PlayStation with me, so I'll be playing a bit of PlayStation, take my mind off the fight and stuff like that, and then get ready Friday night.
Well, what are you playing on your PlayStation? Come on.
Call of Duty.
Oh,
I was big into Fortnite, but I don't play it no more. I play Warzone on Call of Duty. So
well, I've never played any of them, so I'll take your word for it that they're brilliant. I think the last video game I played was like Tomb Raider or something.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I used to be so scared. It used to frighten the shit out of me. So I used to just, the way you used to get like a training round at the start,
Yeah.
where Lara used to just go around her house with the butler chasing after her. I just used to do that for hours a day and used to have loads of fun. But so in terms of your corner, then is it only like two? How many people can you have with you, and who's going to be with you?
Yeah, you're literally only allowed two cornermen. So I have three coaches, and unfortunately, one of them's not going to be allowed to come to the show. My cup man's not allowed to come to the show. They have their own cup man that they're for you. So everything's very strict. You're only allowed two cornermen. As soon as you fight, you have to get straight out. You're not allowed to hang about or anything like that. So everything's going to be different. No crowd, and stuff like that. But listen, I know that I'm there for a reason, and I'm there to do a job. So God willing, I'll come out victorious.
Absolutely. So on the night you get the win, who's getting the first call? Who's the first person you're ringing?
Put me under pressure. It'll be my family. It'll either be my brother or my sister.
Yeah.
Whoever I've got a missed call from first, because they'll both be watching. Or it'll be my dad. Somebody who's very close to me.
Good stuff. Well, listen, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. Last minute, I know, but I really appreciate you jumping on.
No problem at all.
And because when was the last time I saw you? It was in Belfast, MTK show, wasn't it?
MTK show, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good night. So I can't wait until shows are back and
exactly.
media are allowed to attend and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Well, thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. I really appreciate it, and best of luck on Friday. I can't wait. And keep us posted. Send some videos, and I'll put them up on our story.
Yes, definitely will.
If you've any clips or whatever, yeah, I'll put them up, because so many people, when I put up the poster earlier on in the fight, loads of people were like, "Oh my god, like, what's happening?" And they're just really interested, So
yeah, no, definitely. I'll send you a couple of things through, like of the weigh-in and stuff like that. So
yeah, please do. That'd be deadly. Yeah.
No problem.
And tell Frank Warren I said hi.
I will do.
Okay, Caoimhin, have a good night. See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.